This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I am talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope that you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is Matt Chappell. He is the co-owner of a company called Harvest Maine, and I'm gonna have him tell you more about that. But it is such an exciting, very cool, sustainable food company. I just am so inspired by this because it's kind of a game changer, and I really like the idea of using farm seconds, which is what they do, and so there's just less waste happening. Anyway, so Tom has a long line of entrepreneurship in his blood, and so he's so like together. I'm very impressed with the way that he speaks, and it makes me feel a little bit weird, but I'm all good. It makes me feel weird just because I'm not like that at all. So, but I really love this conversation. He is so nice and so just like well-rounded and cool. And I am so loving this company. I'm very excited to try his spreads and to promote the crap out of them because I want everyone to support this. There's so much food waste, and even on farms, it was surprising to me to hear about that. And I know that it is, it would be composted, but even cooler if people are eating it, right? I mean, there's so much hunger, and there's so much opportunity, and I'm so glad that they just grabbed that. Anyway, I'm going to get to Matt, but please, if you love this podcast, please feel free to share it. Feel free also to rate and review it wherever you're listening. I love Good Pods. I'm on there daily. So you can actually message me through Good Pods, and I will definitely respond. If you hate the podcast, please let me know. I want this to provide value for you, and if you have anything to share, if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, also let me know because I would love to chat with you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Matt.
Today, my guest is Matt Chappell, and I'm going to have Matt tell you a lot about his business, but his current business is called Harvest Maine. How are you today, Matt?
I'm great. Good to be here.
Awesome. So Harvest Maine, I noticed you were just in the Down East magazine, which is super cool. Quite an accomplishment. And I will say I think I said in my message to you, I confused you with I think it's Maine. I think it's called Maine Harvest or something like that in the Farmingdale area, maybe Hollowell. And I was thinking that you were like a local goods store. And so I was really surprised to see that it was an actually completely separate business, but also super cool. So tell us what Harvest Maine is,
Sure.
please.
So Harvest Maine is a small batch veggie spread company, and we use imperfect Maine produce to produce those hummus-like vegetable spreads. So uh, we're working with farms to essentially make use of those undersized, oddly shaped vegetables that might not be pretty enough for the market.
That's amazing. And so are they all hummuses pretty much?
Well, there's two that are hummus-like, and we use the term hummus-like because there's no chickpea in them. We use white bean, which is grown in Freiburg, Maine. Those are also seconds. They're called split beans. They're cracked and they're not suitable enough for uh, the baked bean environment, but they're perfectly fine for a hummus environment. So our base is white bean. We have two products that are like hummus because we use tahini. So they have that tahini flavor. That's beet and carrot. And then the second one is celery root and red pepper. Not a lot of people know about celery root. It's delicious, creamy, and really goes well with red pepper. The third one I would consider, we call it guacamole. So it's like guacamole, but no avocado. Instead, we're using broccoli and cauliflower, but all the same flavors of guacamole. So jalapeno, cilantro, lime, those kinds of things. So it's sort of a Maine guacamole, if you will.
That's awesome. Super cool. And so let's see. So tell us about, I mean, Harvest Maine. So it's not just you, you have a business partner.
Yes. So my business partner is Ben Slayton, and he has been operating and owning Farmers Gate Market, which is a whole animal butchery. Uh, he sold that recently. I had been operating Gather Restaurant in Yarmouth for a similar period, also sold that. And the two of us worked together over that time. He supplied me with all my beef and pork during that time. So we got to know each other. He really helped us understand the idea of using the whole animal and not just featuring a certain cut of steak on the menu, but uh, really helped us uh, work through ideas and concepts that let us use the whole animal. So he was a good teacher on that front, and we got to know each other a lot during that time, and joked around about doing something together someday, and then it actually happened. We were both free of our old work and joined forces around this idea of uh, using vegetable seconds. And that was born out of actually a conversation I had with Broadturn Farm years ago. We did a tour, and this is while I was operating the restaurant. And I asked about the seconds in the field. And the owner, Stacy, said, well, there's really no market for those seconds, so we end up leaving them in the field. And that sat with me for years and years. And the reason that I was asking was that, in a restaurant, we don't care what the vegetable looks like when it comes in the door from the supplier. We're going to peel it, we're going to cut it, we're going to cook it, whatever. As long as it's good quality,
Right.
the appearance is not important. But I couldn't really get my hands on any of it because there was no market for them, and they left them in the field. There's labor associated. There's other sunk costs that make it such that they just made the economic decision to leave it in the field. So that sat with me. We kicked around some ideas and came up with this veggie spread idea. Ben and I did, and that's where we're at today.
That's so cool. And you're operating in Brunswick. Is it your kitchen is in
Yes.
Brunswick? Is it
Yeah.
the old Mary Meeting kitchen?
It is as of yesterday. We had been at Mid Coast Hunger Prevention, their shared kitchen. They helped us get off the ground,
Cool.
gave us a space that in their new uh, processing kitchen in the Brunswick Landing. But we quickly outgrew their model and have just moved into a new space also on the Brunswick Landing. So now we have our own space, and it lets us produce when we need to produce and store without limitation. So it's been a good transition, a busy
Awesome.
couple of weeks to get set up.
For sure. Oh my gosh. So like loading, packing, unloading, unpacking,
All of it.
and processing and
And there's only two of us, so there've been some long days.
yeah. What a great kitchen though. I used to make jam there.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. Um, but so that's so cool. And so I just want to I love the do you work with a bunch of farmers or is there one particular farmer that you're working with because you made it that deal with the cost or how is that working?
We have right now we have between I think 10 and 13 different farms that we work with. Some in the Bodenham area, some in Unity, some up in Parkman, Maine, which is a town I didn't know about. We get beautiful celery root from Checkerberry Farm up there. Cape Elizabeth, there's a farm that we work with, Jordan Farm. So they're scattered throughout Maine, and they all have different specialties for the most part. Crystal Spring in Brunswick, of course, grows a lot of organic carrots, and they produce a lot of carrot seconds. So we work with Seth there to make use of the carrot seconds. And so, yes, we've developed a good network of farms and have worked with them. Some farms bring us more than one vegetable. It's they might do peppers and beets with us, and another one might do parsnip and celery root. So it's growing the list.
That's super cool. So what if so you've been working with you said celery root and beets and carrots and white beans and
Broccoli, cauliflower, jalapeno, let's see, parsnip.
are you just changing up the dips depending on what you have available?
No, they're very set recipes, and we made that decision early on. We did not want to be just chasing around the next
Whatever.
bumper
Yeah.
crop or surge, and that wouldn't work. So we last harvest season we processed thousands of pounds of vegetables. We blanch and then freeze those vegetables and store them so that we can use them throughout the year. That's what allows us to create our product in January or February or
Right.
But that list of vegetables all has a home in the recipe in each product.
That's so cool. So you're processing each vegetable separately, like
Correct.
each type, and then you're freezing it. Where are you freezing? Where are you storing your frozen stuff?
Well, we were storing it at Mid Coast.
Okay.
Freezer storage is a tough one in Maine. I think a lot of people in this world know that now, or we know it now. They've known it for a long time, but cold storage is challenging. But we have space in Brunswick that we're renting from another partner business, and hopefully that will work out and there'll be enough room for us as we grow. We do not have our own on-site freezer storage right now,
Right.
which makes it challenging.
Sure. Okay. So so you guys came up with Harvest Maine to literally like you were having conversations about what can we do about all of the farm seconds, and so you came up with the idea to create these spreads and dips. Did you think it was going to be like a big seller? Did you think, I mean, how is it being, are people excited about it? I guess is my question, long way.
Well, I'll go back to the first part of your question. Originally, we were talking about bone broth because of Ben's background on the butchery side. You know, he said there's a lot of bone available. It's not getting used. We can convert that. And so we worked that idea for a little while. And then I was having a conversation with someone about broccoli stalks. So often the part of the broccoli that doesn't get used,
Mm-hmm.
it gets cut off and discarded when people make their broccoli. And I started experimenting with broccoli stock, and that kind of grew into this hummus idea or hummus like product. And then we shared it with a circle of people and got some good feedback, but you never know, you know, maybe they're just being kind and yeah, this is great. I don't know.
Sure.
We then broadened that circle, got some more feedback, and started selling it into stores in December and January of this past year. And it's been really well received. And, you know, the real test is a store seeing reorders. You know, it's one thing to get it into the store, but are people buying it? And is the store reordering? And
Right.
that's what we've seen across the board. And again, breweries do really well with it. It's just a fun, easy snack item in the brewery. The local markets, whether it's a natural food store or just a local corner store or a farm stand, the kinds of people that are shopping in those stores are interested in new ideas and new products, and especially products that are made in Maine and ones where we've added value to Maine grown ingredients.
It's fantastic. It's so I just love I love the idea of giving it I think in this really I think childlike way of like it's produce destiny. Like it's getting to live its produce destiny of being consumed and not, you know, and so I love the idea of it not being, you know, just sitting and being wasted. I mean, it would obviously be you know, break down into the land and whatever or eaten by critters, but like, you know, the like you were saying, I think you was just saying to me before we started recording, but like the farmers put money and effort into growing that, and so that now they're able to get something for that work, and satisfy, you know, them in making some money, and you have produce to work with, and I think it's a wonderful circle. I think it's great. And sustainability wise, obviously, like it's so cool to again just, you know, give that produce a purpose, and create something from something that wasn't going to be used. So I think that's a super plan. I hope that a lot of people are inspired by that, and maybe you can franchise, or maybe you can spread out to you're in Massachusetts right now. Are you are you talking to Massachusetts about branching out there?
Well, we have our product in New Hampshire and Massachusetts with the help of some new distributors down here, and
Super.
I'm down here right now on the road visiting stores with those distributors. So going into those markets and farm stands to introduce the product and to tell our story. And I think a Maine product is as well received down here as it is locally in our town. You know,
Sure.
I think they think of Maine in a pretty positive light down here.
Right,
So, yeah,
right. I know personally, you know, if I'm looking for local food, you know, New England is all, you know, it's all local. It's within a, you know, a couple
yeah,
hours drive or whatever. You know, it's
right,
not like coming from, you know, a 12-hour flight away
right.
or,
And
um,
that's how we're thinking about it too. This is a regional idea for us. It's not just a Maine idea. So eventually we'll be reaching out to New Hampshire and Massachusetts farms to say, what seconds do you have? And not only selling it down here, but sourcing our ingredients as well.
Yeah.
And, our thinking around, the sourcing component has evolved a little bit. Originally it was exclusively seconds, but we're also finding that sometimes it's helpful for the farmer if we take their whole harvest, which means, and I don't mean in its an entirety, every single thing they grow, but taking seconds and firsts in a field run approach. So where they can just literally pack it in the field and it goes to us versus grading it out, sorting it. Sometimes that's the way a farmer wants to work. Sometimes they already have systems in place where the grading has occurred and the seconds are available, and it's a pretty easy transition. So we're learning. This is crash course. Neither of us, although Ben's been a farmer in the past, so he's got a lot more knowledge on that front, but it's been a crash course for me on the farm side of things.
Sure.
Sure.
That's cool though. I mean, we'll take the veggies. So I mean, obviously you're reaching out and you're distributing to New England area. What's next? I mean, I know you guys you're not a super long established company, but what's next for Harvest Maine?
Well, even though we've managed to get into a number of stores in Maine, there's lots more in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. So we've got to focus on that. We've got to figure out how to make larger quantities in the space that we have, and continue to, pursue that idea of using up vegetables that might otherwise be falling through the cracks. So that's all involves scale that can be challenging, not only on the sourcing side, but storage side, the production side. So everything gets a little more complicated as we grow and grow. I mean, we literally just this last week have gone, have doubled the amount of product that we're making in a week, which is a shock to the system. It's been really challenging, and I don't expect that to all of a sudden plateau out. I think it's just going to continue to grow. We have to adjust and figure out how to do it. But finding ourselves into Hannaford is a good next step. We've been approached by them, and they have a local program, Hannaford Local, and we've submitted the paperwork for that, and we hope that will lead to being on the shelves, at least in some Hannafords in southern Maine, to test. And that would be good. I mean, that's where a lot of people are shopping.
That would be really good.
I like Hannaford, and I shop at Hannaford, and it'd be nice to see the product on the shelf and see how it does in an environment that is a little different than the kinds that we're in right now.
For sure. Yeah. But so right now you're technically in like natural food stores and breweries, which I'd love for you to talk about. I think we just talked about that off the interview, but so are you in a lot of breweries or just a few?
We're in a decent amount. We're in Mass Landing, Austin Street, Flight Deck, Bellflower. Let's see. Four River is another one. So we're in a fair amount in southern Maine. We want that to grow, of course. And when a brewery doesn't have its own kitchen, it can be a really good fit, because it's just an easy snack item. We've paired up with a chip out of Massachusetts called Brewer's Chips, and they make a pita chip out of spent grain. So
Very cool.
brewer's grain, and that fits the brewery environment, but also the sort of upcycled environment. So brewers usually have us on the menu with those chips and then our own little 8-ounce tub. And, you can buy that and have it at the table and snack with your friends if you want something different than the food truck offering or popcorn or whatever. And
Right.
it's been a really, really good fit.
That's
Really good
fantastic.
fit.
I love that idea. I don't go to bars or breweries. I don't drink, but I think of, and I had told you this, I'm thinking of pub food, which is, deep fried,
Yeah,
fries, wings, whatever. And, this is a far cry from that. And, everyone doesn't love that. So
right.
that's super cool. So I want to respect your time, Matt, and I know I need to get to work too, but so I do have a couple of questions, and I so appreciate your time. I'm so
Sure.
thrilled for your company. But so when I say the word sustainability to you, what does that mean to you personally?
Well, um, it means two things, I think, two sort of distinctly different things. One, of course, is what we might all think of, which is kind of living lightly on the earth and being mindful of the resources that we have on the earth, but also in front of us. Ben and I are both New Englanders and come from a very frugal background and environment. So how we use the things in our world is top of mind for us, and so that's sort of uh, the uh, the side of sustainability that I think a lot of people think about, although it's like you said, it's a big word that means a lot of different things to different people. The second side of it, I think of economic sustainability. So we were pretty adamant early on about taking a market-based approach to this food waste issue, and not necessarily a nonprofit route, but a market-based solution, because we wanted to engage the everyday consumer in this idea, and also rely on that to perpetuate it, to grow it. The bigger we can grow, the more vegetable seconds we can use, and so on and so forth. So there's the economic sustainability side that has been important to our model, and I think it will be going forward. So those are the ways that I think about it. My partner Ben might have a different approach, or perhaps a similar mindset around it. I know we've had lots of conversations about it, but if you were to ask him that question, he might have different answers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's why I say you personally, because we all have our own views about that. And now, is it okay? And I can edit this if you are not okay with that. Is it okay if I mention the fact that you come from a long line of entrepreneurs?
Sure, you can. I'm proud of that part, of course. Yes.
Do you want to tell it then?
Sure. So my family started Tom's of Maine back in 1970, and I think I told Amy I was 2 then. So I grew up in that environment and learned a lot during that time, and took a lot of that with me into my own work, whether it was the restaurant or today and now. And so very blessed to have that experience and time.
Very cool. And obviously in Maine, we love Tom's of Maine. And then, so the last question that I have for you, I'm hoping that people are super excited about this, want to learn more. I know you were just in the Down East magazine, so I can put a link to that, so people can read about that and see how cool. But how would people be able to find you and follow what you guys are doing, support you? Can people drop off, or if they have like farm seconds, if it's a farm that you haven't been working with? Is that something that you are considering, or are you not really, you like right now, you're like, we are set right now?
No, as a matter of fact, we're right now, because we're growing at the rate we're growing, our need for seconds has grown considerably too. So we've been actively reaching out to those farms we worked with last year and new ones.
Cool.
And I wouldn't say dropping stuff off is the model that we have. We mostly have conversations with farms about, what do they have? Is usually what they're doing is grading out product and is setting it aside for us, and then it has to, of course, remain refrigerated and be transported in a refrigerated way, and so that all requires some coordination. But yes, we're certainly interested in new partners, farms that want to work with us 100%.
Okay,
and
cool.
In terms of finding us, obviously the website harvest-maine.com is probably the best resource, because there you're going to be able to find ways to communicate with us, whether it's email or whatever, or look at where our products are sold. There's a section there that shows people where we're currently sold, so you can look at that map and zoom in on your territory and find out where we're sold. So I'd say the website's a good place for that, and of course Instagram, Facebook are two places where we're active reluctantly.
Super cool. That's awesome. Yes, please don't drop off. Don't drop off, people. But definitely, I work with, I do a lot of work with Farm Drop. I don't know if you are familiar with that. They're,
Yes.
It's connected with all the farms. So
yes,
for a lot of farms.
Which one are you working with?
I'm a vendor for my jam business with the Mid Coast.
Okay.
But I shop at the Lisbon one.
The Lisbon
because it's closer to me.
That's Kina, right?
Yep.
And she supplies some of our hot peppers
Nice.
For our celery root product.
Super.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And I've also been in conversation with Hannah, the founder or the CEO, and she obviously knows all the farmers.
Yep.
So, okay, that's super cool. Matt, thank you so much. I'm super excited to share this, and if you guys get into Hannaford, you're gonna explode. I'm sure.
Well, we'll see.
That would be okay though. Awesome. Yeah. I wish you luck today.
Questions. Yes, appreciate the questions, Amy. It's fun.
Awesome. All right. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Take care.
I just want to take a moment and thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I also need to thank Buzzsprout for hosting this podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her amazing music genius, for Becca Coffron and her beautiful artwork. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Please check out the show notes. I'm going to have links posted in there if you would like to follow this guest and learn more about them. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, get there from here, 'cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness, we'll heal the ache with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? of grace has finally found me. Well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder